Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Aquarian Mind podcast. Today's podcast, episode number 86. I'm your host, Jamel Crothers. It's Motivation Wednesday, and we're sticking with the letter U. And the next word we're talking about is urgency. It's having urgency when accomplishing or finishing your goals. Because the question is whether you're going to do it now or you're going to do it later. Now, if you don't have the urgency to get things done, you will not finish a lot of what needs to be completed. So, what I would really want to tell you is to organize yourself and write down what things are most important when trying to finish your tasks and goals. Because most of us need something visual to know what we need to do and what has to be done. I know I do, and I'm old school, and I write down to do lists every week and I check things off as I complete them. But now I've kind of moved on to the widget aspect of it on my phone, and I kind of add a whole bunch of things and then I kind of take them off as I complete them. So, um, whatever you're comfortable with. But trust me when I tell you, writing everything down and seeing it visually, it makes a huge difference. And I will admit, I do have a tendency to put things off and I end up rewriting things onto a new to-do list the next week, which isn't necessarily a good thing. It basically means I'm dodging certain things and I shouldn't be, and I know that certain tasks need to be done. An example may be editing and formatting a book that I wrote. Now, last year, the book that a book I was working on, it took me too long to finish it, and then when I finished writing it, I avoided editing it for a good 3 weeks. But I knew it had to be done. So please do not put off certain tasks, because what happens is when you keep putting it off, when it really gets down to, okay, it's time for that project to be finished, it's going to be way harder for you to sit down and really grind out what you need to grind out. And I always say it's a now or a later thing, and later always costs you in plenty of other things that you may need to do. So remember, everything falls on you when you're an entrepreneur, or even if you want to, do something as far as a lawyer or a doctor, studying, looking over content that you looking over notes you've taken in class, whatever it is. And I always say to people, the reading isn't going to do itself. The studying isn't going to do itself. So if you want to be a professional athlete, practicing and working on your craft isn't going to get done unless you go to the field, court, or gym to get the workout in. That's why professional athletes are great at what they do. They make sure that they get that work in. They get the exercise. They make sure that they're sticking to their game plan of how they want to improve and get better. It's the same thing when it comes to, doing anything else. Whether you're working toward graduating in school and getting a certain degree, whatever it is, you got to really put the work in. And when it comes to me, I always know that the books aren't going to write themselves. And even though I have the outlines all laid out, I have to really sit down, focus, hone in, and write everything out that I pretty much outlined. And editing and proofreading, it's not going to do itself for me. So if you're a writer, if you want to be an author, and you really want to do all the work yourself, trust me, it's a lot of work. And even though I've done so much in such a short amount of time, it's not easy at all. So how much do you want it? That's the real question. I always know that a lot of the work that I have to do is not going to do itself. The blogs aren't going to do it right themselves. The podcasts aren't going to record themselves, and neither are the audiobooks. And that's why I'm about holding myself accountable for everything I do. And this is why I'm doing my justice in holding you guys accountable. So whatever you guys are doing, stop putting it off. Start getting yourself mentally prepared to do the task that you need to do, because it's going to pay off in the long run. It's not about just the short-term accomplishments. It's also about the long-term aspect of it. Because when you reflect on a whole year, let's say at the end of this year, you go back and you reflect, you go, okay, I accomplished a whole lot of things and I got a lot of things done. And that's what's going to help you in the long run. Trust me, longevity and legacy is going to be way more important than just a quick little get little things done. Sometimes the bigger things have to be done also in order to have the long-term success. So now I will sit here and I will ask you, do you or will you have the urgency to continually get your work done? How bad do you want to succeed in what you love? How much do you love what you do? Are you going to get things done every day or sparingly? How much time and dedication are you going to have towards improving your craft? Take the time to think about all of these things because that's how you get ahead of everyone else that's not doing the work. I'm going to tell you, none of this is easy. If everything was easy, believe you me, there would be way more people who are millionaires and billionaires and all of that stuff. And it may not be about you being a millionaire. It may be about you making six figures or whatever makes you happy. But what I'm trying to tell you is you've got to have a sense of urgency and you've got to have discipline too. Discipline, if you don't have it, you're not going to last very long. I'm going to tell you that right now. And I know that as the years go on, you'll learn to become more disciplined and you'll know like what you have to do. But once you get the discipline in, then you have to add the urgency aspect to it and say, okay, I have to get this project done so I can move on to the next one. You may have a next project in line, but if you don't complete the one that you're working on, it's going to be way harder for you to move on to that next one and know in the back of your mind that that previous one you didn't complete or finish. So I want you guys to know that I create all of this motivation and inspirational podcasts every Wednesday because I've been through it and I've gone through the trenches and the grind of all of this. This is pretty much approaching 6 years of this as I'm recording this. And I want you guys to know that this is a process. And I want you all to succeed in what you want to do. I want you all to be happy. I want you all to achieve all of the financial goals that you have for yourself. I want you all to get all the things that you want. I want you guys to be able to travel, even though this world's in a crazy place right now. Whatever makes you happy, whatever gets you out of bed in the morning, I want you guys to do that. And that's why I tell you guys that having that urgency to really buckle down, get off the social media, don't take the phone calls, don't text people back, and just do the work. Trust me. I have been working on writing books tirelessly, and the one thing I do is sometimes I leave my apartment and I go to a lounge area and I sit there and I open my laptop, I have something to drink, and I turn on my music and I get to work. And that's just what I do. I get into a zone, I start writing out a few chapters, and 3 hours later, I've accomplished way more than I would have if I would have stayed in my apartment, turned on my TV, and tried to do writing and watching TV at the same time. I can do it sometimes, but sometimes it's not the best thing for me to do. I need to be in a complete mental focus, and that's how I'm able to complete a lot of the tasks. So you've got to, get yourself to a place where you're, like, all right, like no more clowning around, no more fun and games. Let's get to work and know that, this urgent, these things that I'm working on, they're urgent and they need to get done. So what I will say is stay focused, stay on your grind, um, have people that are going to hold you accountable, and make sure you have people around you that are going to continually motivate you to be great. There are going to be very few people around you that are going to hold you accountable, and there are going to be very few people around you that are going to see um, the talents and gifts that you have, and they know that what you have is something special and something that you can give to the world. And if you have those people around you, you'll definitely be successful. I spoke on some previous podcasts, you got to have the right team around you, whether they're working for you or they are people that are in your life that are going to hold you accountable for what you need to do. But at the end of the day, you have to hold yourself accountable. So remember, there's a mirror in your bathroom for a reason, and it's to look at yourself in the morning to see the reflection of who you are and what you're becoming. And I'll end it on that. That's my podcast for today. Thank you guys for listening. Be good, everyone, and go accomplish your goals.